For many people, coffee is not just a drink. For me, I don't drink coffee, which is ironic that I'm making this video about how to design a coffee station because so many people are doing it incorrectly. For most people, coffee is your ritual. It is the introduction and the start of your day. And if you are able to enhance that ritual, that is just an elevated feeling of design that can enhance not only your space, but also enhance your day. The last thing I want to see is an uninspired, cluttered coffee station that is either set up on your counter or you have a dedicated space to it. I'm going to give you the tips and tricks of how to make this space look chic. It has become an industry standard for when I'm designing clients' homes that either we are doing a coffee station in the kitchen or in their primary bedroom, and I've designed many of them. And I think it's a really interesting take that this has become a trend that is a timeless approach to incorporating tech into your space, but also elevating an experience that you're doing every single day, because that's what design is all about, is elevating that experience to amplify how you feel and amplify you. So design isn't just about the way something looks, it's also about the role that it plays in your space and how it dictates your feeling throughout the day. This is the role definition of a ritual and how it can really impact you. A coffee station should feel intentional, well-designed, and follow form and function. This isn't just about the aesthetics to get that beautiful coffee photo that everyone has on Instagram. As always, I want you to think about clean lines and natural materials. This is going to be your foolproof method into creating a beautiful space. As you all know how much I love using natural stone, this is just a disclaimer that coffee is extremely acidic. So if you are using a natural stone, make sure it's protected or you have barriers in place to prevent it from etching or staining. First, we're going to talk about the spatial planning and functionality of your coffee station and how it's going to work in your space. Choosing a location that has a multitude of outlets and is away from the busier parts of your kitchen is going to be really important because drinking coffee is going to be your calming exercise in the morning. This is a ritual that you want to take place in a busy setting, but have its own dedicated space so it feels calming and serene. I want you to also consider workflow. Are you one of those purists that drinks coffee only in bean format and you have to grind it and prepare it? Where are your mugs? What accessories do you need? Do you need milk nearby? Do you need sweetener? Do you need sugar? How close is this in location to those areas? Are you going to have a drink fridge that has everything all in? Are you close to the fridge or the refrigerator when you need ice? All of these are really important in terms of where this area is going to be dictated and installed, or if you're doing a renovation, where it's going to be built in and have its dedicated space. It's really important to incorporate that organic modern aspect. Like I said before, clean lines, clean shape, and once again, this should feel part of the kitchen, but also have its own distinctive style so it can be separate as your ritual, as this is where you get coffee, this is where you cook and clean. You do not want them put together. You want to have that separate zone. It's also really important that if you are incorporating an integrated appliance, whether it be a drink fridge, a freezer fridge, a built-in itself, or if you want to have one of those integrated coffee machine designs, this is really important in terms of the layout and where things are being located as well in the kitchen design. Now let's talk about materials and surfaces. Coffee means heat, water, and stains. So this is where materials really matter here. If you are a lazy person and you do not clean often, I want you to maybe consider quartz or an engineered material that you don't have to worry about etching or staining. Soapstone is another really great option if you want something to age and patina with time, but also consider it's going to have heavy heat stain marks depending on how much heat your coffee machine gives off, especially at the back. This is really important because I love carrying the same stone on the countertop up the entire backsplash and on the floating shelves if you have that opportunity. There's a lot of heat that comes out of those machines depending on what model you're getting, so it's really important to understand the confined space and how these are actually operating in the alcove for your coffee station. If you are going with one of those more high-end models, it's really important to have enough clearance on the sides as well as the back, including enough airflow for when this machine is on. I personally love those retractable pocket doors. I think they are a great incorporation into any design, especially a coffee station that if it is busy and messy, you can close it off. But it is just important to understand the bylaws as well as the codes around having outlets in an actual closed carcass cabinet. Sometimes you can't have them, sometimes you can. And if you can have them, they usually have to have a trip on them, which means those plugs are only operational if the doors are open. This is going to be key to preventing any fire hazard because the last thing that I want to hear about is someone's house catching on fire because their coffee station was plugged in an enclosed, non-ventilated space. I know I talked about the heat displacement on some of these machines, but it's also really important to understand steam. If you have one of these machines out on the counter, great. It has enough space and enough ventilation. But if you have it in a coffee station, you need to make sure that that heat disbursement does not stay, because if you have one of those steam machines in a small alcove, you best believe if you have a veneered finish on any of those details in the alcove, they are going to peel and they are going to fall apart in a few years max. One tip I always give my clients is if you are designing or including a coffee station into an alcove, always have a tray. Have the machines on a tray. It helps reduce that heat disbursement as well as containing any spills that may happen within the machine itself. So God forbid you do have a spill, it's contained on that tray and it's not leaking in around the countertop and the rest of the alcove of the coffee station. Choosing machine is really important because you want to balance form as well as function. You want that clean line finish, but also you want the finish and color of these coffee machines to feel cohesive, not only with the design of the alcove and your coffee station, but the rest of your kitchen, depending on where it's placed. Espresso machines are elegant and practical. They're a quick fix and they usually have very minimal heat displacement. Drip machines are beautiful. They're also costly, but they're going to give you that really sleek style. Pod machines are super efficient and slim, but also not the nicest looking. Grinders are usually in a stainless steel finish, so you need to keep that in mind with the rest of the coordinated finishes that are going to be at this coffee station. I also need you to think about storage. Do you have woven baskets? Where are your pods being stored? Do you have sugar spoons? These are all additional items that are going to be included in this design that need to have a place and need to be included before you design this coffee station. The goal is to have everything within arm's reach. You take away from that ritual when you have to leave and grab something and then come back. It adds more time to the ritual and takes away from that satisfaction of everything being right there, and that's the purpose of a well-designed space, is everything is right where you need it. When it comes to products, I will make recommendations based on Anthony's skill level because, once again, I do not drink coffee. I'm going to give you the budget, the mid-range, as well as those luxury level ones if you really want to elevate your space. Lavazzo and Nespresso are going to be your budget-friendly machines. Now, not all of them look great. Most of the time, they're plastic and they have powder coating on them, which are not going to be as maintenance-free as a stainless steel finish, but it's sleeker and it's going to look more well-designed if you want to stick to a budget. These machines usually range from 100 to 500, which in my opinion is like wild to think about a coffee machine. Miele and Brella are going to be your mid-range tier. These are going to cost anywhere between 500 to 2,000 depending on if you want a freestanding machine or an integrated appliance. And if you really have a knack for luxury coffee machines, these are probably going to cost you anywhere between $3,000 and $8,000. So Miele also has a higher brand one, which I recommend. I think these are really great for integrated appliances. Jura and Terra Cafe are other really great brands if you want that luxury feel that looks sleek and modern with the overall design. Design is all about personalization and your style. So there's a few additional key items I want you to consider while you're curating these spaces. The mugs that you drink of, do they have a memory connection to them? Are you using a ceramic? Are you using a designer? Do the style of these match the actual cavity of the coffee station that you're designing? Natural touches are always a really great added aesthetic. Whether it's flowers, dried stems, or even the visual coffee beans are going to give you that elevated experience of a dedicated space. How do you store everything? Are they in glass containers? Are they closed containers? And once again, is everything easily accessible? Is there a drawer at the bottom to also hide away your much used items that take up clutter as well? This is also a moment of luxury. Lighting is very detailed and specific to these spaces and the design of a coffee station. Are you doing an integrated LED above to light everything perfectly? Or do you want more of that kind of like homey modern feel with a bit of a rustic element where there's an actual lamp in this space? This requires a lot of pre-planning as well to consider how many outlets that you're going to need and how many coffee machines are going to be in the station as well. These are going to be your practical everyday tips for designing and curating the perfect coffee station as well. Make sure that the machines are placed on something that has a heat safety and a wet rated area, so then that way, depending if the water leaks at the back, I know most of the machines require a water fill or access to water. Pick finishes that don't show fingerprints. These are items that you're going to be touching every single day. So those high touch stainless steel machines are not always the best if you want an aesthetic look. Keep your daily items and accessories available and accessible, and keep everything within arm's reach. If you do have it in the budget, putting a pot filler in this area is way more practical than having a pot filler over your stove. I don't know how many times people have not filled up a pot by the pot filler itself, but with something that is easily accessible and requires water and clean water regularly, like a coffee station, having that built in so everything is within arm's reach is always a great added touch to really elevate the experience and the ritual of a coffee station. Coffee is as personalized as you are, so I want you to think about creating not only the ritual, but the atmosphere that you want in your space. Do you need something bold and bright in the morning to wake up? Or do you want something more neutral and clean? All of these finishes are going to dictate how you want the energy to revive in this space and around the interiors of this coffee station. I know there are so many other details that we could go into, but these are going to be the bare necessities and the basics of creating a beautiful coffee station. So if you watched all the way through, make sure you like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribed. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Mr. Phoenix Gray for all my daily tips and tricks if you can't wait until next week's video. And if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do?